Probably 9:32, so let me call this meeting of the Florida Historical Commission to order on May the 8th, 2026. And so the first order of business is to call the roll. So if staff would call the roll.
Just wait till Karen, is she?
Want to wait?
Yeah, let's wait till she.
Okay. So we could do introduction instead, or you want to just pause?
Let's pause.
Okay.
Let me see where she went.
Say, hey, John, how are you?
Good morning.
Good. How are you? There's John. Two Johns, Judy.
John.
You gotta.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Well, both of you. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Ben is here, and Matt is here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of you online. Thank you for joining the webinar.
Thank you for having us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you.
I'll call the roll.
You can call a roll.
All right, Dr. Judy Bitt,
Present.
Mr. John Browning.
This is John Browning. Hello. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Parker Dustin.
Present.
Michael Francis.
Present.
Rick Gonzalez.
Here.
David Hoyt.
Present.
Kathleen Kaufman.
I'm here.
John Phelps. Frank Terrafroma.
Present.
And our newest member, Tony Cortez.
Here.
Okay, everybody's present and accounted for.
Thank you. So we not only have a quorum, we have perfect attendance. So now, next we will introduce ourselves, and then those staff and guests. So my name is Judy Bent. I have the privilege of being chair of the commission for a while. I am an archaeologist from Pensacola.
My name is Parker Destin. I'm a restaurateur from Northwest Florida in Destin. I am one of the at-large general members that is appointed by the Senate President.
Good morning. My name is Rick Gonzalez. I'm president of REG Architects in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I've been on this board 18 years.
Tony Cortez. I am a political and fundraising consultant based here in Tallahassee.
And why don't we start with John Browning? You introduce yourself, and I'll just call.
I'm John Browning. I work for the Goodman Company out of Palm Beach, and also serve on the Florida Transportation Commission and a couple other boards, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, John. Ben?
Yes, hi, Ben Bartlett. I am the Volusia County Public Works Director, and we're here about the request to rename the Lighthouse Point Park.
Okay. Sorry. Kathleen?
Good morning. This is Kathleen Kaufman. I'm the City of Gainesville's Historic Preservation Officer. I also am the Vice Chair of the National Register Review Committee. And I recently became an adjunct professor teaching preservation policy at University of Florida.
Thank you. I don't see you, Michael, but I know Michael is there.
I think they're scrolled down. I can call them out.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
Michael
you.
Francis.
Thank you. This is Michael Francis. I'm the Huff Family Endowed Chair of Florida Studies and Professor of History at the University of South Florida. And I also serve on the National Register Review Board. Delighted to be here.
David Hoyt should also be online.
Hi, yeah, this is David. I'm David Hoyt. I'm the Executive Director of School Boards for Academic Excellence and live in Jacksonville, Florida. Also serve on the board of Young Americans for Liberty.
John Phelps.
I just got reconnected for some reason. It kept going out on me. I'm John Phelps, now retired, formerly clerk of the House for 20 years, director of the Capitol Historical Museum for 4 years, 12 years for Senate Rules Committee, staff chair, and a trustee of Eckerd College.
Okay, and Frank Terrafroma.
Thank you. Frank Turfman here. I am here in Tallahassee as a political consultant. Been on the board for, I think, just over 2 years now, and really happy to be here.
Thank you. And want to introduce, you want to handle introducing the staff, or how do you want to handle that?
Sure, I can do that. My name is Alyssa Lotane. I'm the Director of the Division of Historical Resources here at the Art Gray Building. Thanks for everybody for coming. I'm also Florida State Historic Preservation Officer. And then down here at the end, we have Ruben Acosta, who is, he's our Bureau Chief of Historic Preservation and a Deputy State Historic Preservation Officer. We've got Cara Fleming, who is our Administrative Assistant in the Director's Office, Alexa Wilson, who works in our grants program and moonlights as a webinar administrator for us and does a great job. And then Jeremy Hiker is our historical marker coordinator and also helps us out with our all our web meetings and websites. Is there anybody else in the audience for us? Eric Case is back here. He's our grant supervisor. And Steve Crisco is also works in our grants program. And
Me and Clay both work for grants as well.
okay, I met you. I haven't actually met you, so I'm sorry. Welcome. I think that's it.
Good, good. Should we have the guests introduce themselves?
Sure.
Okay, sure. Why don't we start in the back right?
My name's Jason Reed. I'm a fossil hunter, and that's why I'm here.
Okay. Orange Bill?
I'm Gabrielle Camp. I'm a recent graduate from Florida State University History Program. I'm here with the Florida Trust for Historic Preservation.
Oh, good.
Hey, morning. I'm Melissa Wiley. I'm the CEO and president of the Florida Trust for Historic Preservation. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emily Longmire. I'm here on behalf of the consideration to rename the lighthouse.
I'm Olivia Longmire, and I'm here for the same thing.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Hunt Longmire, and I'm here for the renaming to James Milton Hunt Lighthouse Point Park.
Okay, thank you, and welcome, everyone. Our next order of business.
We also have Councilman Matt Reinhardt from Volusia County and Mayor Lois Paritsky from Ponce Inlet, if they want to introduce themselves as well on the call.
Thank you, Ben. This is Councilman Matt Reinhardt, Volusia County Council Vice Chair and District 2 Representative, here in reference to item 8 on the possible renaming of the Lighthouse Point Park. Sits right here beautifully in my district.
Hi, I'm Lois Paritsky, and I see there's a feedback. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm here on the request to name the Lighthouse Point Park, and it sits in my beautiful town. And thank you for the opportunity to speak.
That it?
And we'll introduce Dr. Angela Tomlinson as our Assistant Director. Hi. And then Dawn Grandage, she's also one of our Assistant Directors.
Morning.
Great. Well, good. Well, thank you. And welcome, everyone, to the meeting. The next item on our agenda is to approve or adopt the agenda that we have before us today. And I'll need a motion and a second to do that.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you for the motion and the second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of adopting our agenda today, please say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. All opposed? Good. So the agenda is approved, I think. Voting online is weird, but anyway. Then the next thing we have to do is to, I hope you all have taken a look at the minutes that we got several days ago of our last meeting. And are there any additions or corrections to the minutes from our February the 20th meeting? If none, we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor of adopting the minutes from Friday, February the 20th, 2026, please say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? All opposed? Thank you. I need to learn to wait. Not my strong suit. All right, so, my comments. I really don't have any comments right now. I think it's been relatively quiet, except for the political issues that we are facing, without a budget, with the issue of no money for the special category grants, basically what to do about that. And, but other than that, I think things are going relatively well, but we'll hear from the director if that's really true. But so, I really don't have any comments. I have some concerns, which we all in this room share. Thank you. Now, Madam Director,
All right.
what's the scoop?
Well, I don't have a ton of comments because I'm going to let Angie and John handle some of
Sure.
the detail on this. Angie's going to give you a good update on the grant, and also we'll do a recap of the budget. There's not been a lot of change. There's a special session coming up May 12th, I believe, to discuss that, and so we'll just do a recap of what we know. Looks like the House was the same, but we'll go through that. And then John will go over some of our construction projects, which are really exciting and starting to finally take shape and look really good. So speaking of construction, thank you for braving the construction site outside, everyone, to come in here. You can look out the window and actually see there's several layers that they put on top, and this is all because of the Museum of Florida History being partially underneath that plaza and leaking since the building was built in 1976 or 77. And finally, we hope that so far it's working. All the tests are looking good, and the humidity is even looking a little bit better down there. So the ultimate goal is we'll see if we get any funds for the museum to reopen during the upcoming session. If we don't, then we'll sort of start renovating those on our own with our staff downstairs and see what the new administration brings in the next year and the next legislative session. But we do have plans that if we don't get the funds this time, we'll go ahead and move forward in sort of more of a piecemeal fashion. So we have been working a lot on America 250. So we've got, it's the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence coming up. And so we've been working with the governor's office on the initiative to install statues of our founders around the state. Just been really exciting and nice community events that have occurred as we've done that. So we did Thomas Jefferson in Jefferson County. We very recently did Washington in Washington County. And various other, we did Monroe in Monroe County, which I actually got to go to that one in about a day down in the Keys, just a day. And the most recent one we did, the George Washington one, we also rolled out a big project we have where there are 2 semi-trucks which have exhibits in them, and so they were at the event, and John, I know, worked really heavily on that, and all of our folks in the Museum of Florida History, Dr. Sam Wilford, who's recently moved from VAR over to the museum, and they managed in a very, very short time to get those put together, and they just look great. And so those will travel the state. I don't have a schedule right now, but there's supposed to be a touch point for them at every single county around the state leading up to July 4th, so watch for those. And, yeah, we're just really excited about all of those events, and the 250th coming up. And that's kind of all the announcements I have for now, unless there's something that you all want to know.
Where is the statue in Washington County?
It is by the train depot.
Okay.
There's like a little
Where's
gazebo and a nice train depot.
Where's the statue in Monroe County?
It's actually in a roadside park. I think they, Bahia Honda, right off Bahia Honda. Yeah.
Okay.
Right by the water. It's a really pretty location, and there was a park created when it was done. It's really neat. Yeah. So next time you're down there, stop off and go and see him. The statue's really amazing. The artist that we have working on those is really great.
Good. Thank you. So who's next?
Let's see, I guess I'm next. I'm next for the Bureau of Archaeological Research updates, and that's because right now, we do not have a state archaeologist and we do not have a bureau chief. So we had actually, Dr. Katie Miar, who you all know, recently resigned, and has gone to work in the private sector. So we wish her very well, and know she'll do great things. In the meantime, we are working to fill that position. Before she left, we had actually come to the conclusion that it was too much for our bureau chief, who manages quite a few projects and archaeologists, to also be our state archaeologist, because the one thing it says in the statute is that the state archaeologist handles human remains and Chapter 872 responsibilities. That's the very specific thing that it requires. So we had separated that. So Katie was actually just handling the 872 responsibilities for getting over 100 new cases of human remains every year, whether that's folks finding something in a closet that grandpa left, or a museum turning it in and finding something in their collections, or, there's an interstate project and they find something. I mean, they just run the gamut. So, they don't always end. I mean, these are just adding to the number, and they're just moving those forward. So they're just getting exponentially higher. And so we've decided to keep that position separate, keep the state archaeologist position separate from the bureau chief position, and so we're looking and been interviewing to hire those folks, and I will have a lot more updates in the next meeting. We also are working to fill the collection supervisor position, which was left vacant by Dr. Sam Wilford when he moved to the Museum of Florida History, and I've actually completed paperwork to hire that person. I just can't quite announce who it is right now. So lots of movement in the Bureau of Archaeological Research. Some great underwater projects coming up that I'll be able to report on. I might even have Ryan come and tell you all about some of the new projects that's been going on with their fleet. So that's my VAR report for today. Yes.
I don't want to start hornet's nest, but how are we paying for this statute? What pot is that coming out of? The appropriation?
Various ones. There was some end-of-year funding that we had. Some of these actually came out of the end-of-year funding for last budget year. And my understanding is some of the other agencies are also paying for some of the statutes. So they aren't all within the Department of State. Some of them are also other agencies.
Well, good luck in BAR.
Thank
Hope you find great folks.
I think we're going to do well. I'm excited about the direction we're going.
Good. So, Ruben, you're next.
Actually, I'm going to run to the 50th anniversary party for just a minute, and I'll be back in a minute.
No problem.
Thanks, Ruben.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Ruben Acosta. I'm the Bureau Chief of Historic Preservation. So we carry out the majority of the mandatory activities under the National Historic Preservation Act for the division. So first big thing, May is Preservation Month. Yay! It's great that we're starting off the month with a ton of rain in the middle of a drought, which is great for the environment but bad for our events. I'm actually hoping to give a historic preservation tour tomorrow at the downtown marketplace at 10:30 in the morning. If you want to learn more about the history of Tallahassee and how historic preservation started here in the city and the role of the state and all that stuff, it's been an hour long. It's one of the usual events that we give as part of Historic Preservation Month. But if it's pouring rain like the weather says it's going to be, I don't know. We'll see. It'll show how dedicated I am to historic preservation, right? But that's only one of many events that are going on across the state. Our certified local governments are participating in that as well, and they have multiple events going on, various awards programs and lectures and such. So we're working to put all of that information together up on our website so that people can learn about what's going on across the state. As for us, we're also doing next week a tour of the Tallahassee Museum, which is one of our recent proposals for historic designation. the museum was initially established at the end of the 1950s, and it grew through the 1960s, and one of its major components is a collection of historic buildings that represent some of the earliest examples of historic preservation in Tallahassee. So two of my staff, Dr. Kira Lucas and Sam Schmidt, are going to be down there in conjunction with the Tallahassee Museum staff to give a preservation-focused tour of the museum. That's on the 13th of May. If you're interested on that. I believe it's 1 o'clock, but email me if you want to confirm that time and want to learn about the unique role that the Tallahassee Museum has played in historic preservation here within the capital city. So that's the big event for May. I'll also be participating in the Florida Trust Preservation Conference down in St. Petersburg. That is on the 14th and the 15th of this month. So really exciting there. And then, there's tons of other events. So I recommend that you look to your local area. There may be things going on there too. In terms of historic designations, we're doing really well. Yesterday we had our National Register Review Board meeting. 7 items were on the agenda, reviewed and approved. So that's great. I'm very happy to see the agenda that long. It's been a little bit where we've had some reduced applications coming in for designations, but that's not bad because it allowed us to catch up on doing all of our concurrences on historic resource surveys and related material. So that's really helpful for our friends in the master site file. The last meeting in February, we had 3 items on the agenda. The old arsenal down in Key West, the West Martello Tower, both of those we were amending their historic designations following repairs completed in response to Hurricane Irma that were funded by National Park Service grants, which were great, that we passed through. So those projects are completed and the Park Service has accepted and essentially listed the amendment. So that's great to hear. We also had a multiple property submission for the Overtown Historic area in Miami, and that one's currently under review by the National Park Service. So we are expecting good news on that. And then we also did receive good news on one of our largest projects within the last several years. The Royal Rural Historic District was finally listed by the National Park Service after some back and forth and making some edits and stuff. So that's great news to hear. That was our first rural historic district that we've listed here in the state of Florida, and it's significant for its association with the historic African American community that goes back to the 1870s. So that's great news on the historic designation front. Related to that, we also got some good news from the National Park Service at the end of last week, where we got our newest certified local government, the community of Yankeetown on the West Coast. I forget exactly which county that is. If it's Citrus or Levy. It's one of the Big Bend.
The Big Bend, right?
Yes. So that's really exciting. They're number 88. So we have 88 certified local governments in the state. That puts us in the top 5, if not the top 3 in the nation for certified local governments. So that's great news, knowing that we have good local partners for historic preservation here in the state of Florida. Going back, we give our partners, we've been working a lot with our federal agency partners and such to facilitate their reviews and things, and we are still waiting for FEMA to send us the largest survey that we're expecting this year for 8,000 properties that they have surveyed across the state of Florida. It's in response to the flooding that's been occurring due to the hurricanes and stuff like that. So the surveys are required before they start making decisions about elevating properties and such like that. So they've been surveying properties from all the way up here in the Big Bend, down through Pinellas County, all the way down to Sarasota. So huge project, but we are eagerly awaiting the arrival of so that Chip and his staff can work their way through that. The other big program that we manage is also the Historic Preservation Tax Program. So that's a federal program that provides a 20% tax incentive to owners of historic properties that rehabilitate them. So if I spend $100 on rehabilitating a property, I can get $20 back as a credit on my taxes. So that program has been growing over the last several years as economic activity continues to ramp up in our historic communities. Right now we have 40 active projects for our one tax credit reviewer that we have in the office, which is a lot, and that's a combination of part ones, which is the evaluations of historic significance, the part twos where we're actually looking at building plans and proposed scopes of work and evaluating them against the Secretary of the Interior standards. And then the part three is where we are actually double checking to make sure that people did what they were supposed to do so that they could get their tax credits. So 40 projects, which is great. Last fiscal year, we had over $72 million in tax credits awarded to projects. And if you do the math, that comes out to about $363 million worth of investment in projects. So, yes.
Is there a part of the state that has more of them than others?
So currently the focus is on Jacksonville and Miami-Dade County. That's where most of the tax credits are. We also have tax credits in Hillsborough County, so Tampa, St. Pete area, Pinellas County. We have several in the center of the state, Polk County and such. We would love to expand the impact of the program, and we have applicants from yesterday I signed a completed part one application for a former school building in Pensacola that is seeking tax credit. So, we are trying to expand the geography, but it's a little difficult when we have one person doing everything for the program.
Ruben, yesterday we talked about, well, it's great, but those are national tax credits. They're not Florida tax credits. Did you get an update on where the Florida program is?
Unfortunately, I do not have an update on where the Florida program is. That would be better answered by our division director.
There was not any legislation introduced this year, to my knowledge. I don't know, the Florida Trust maybe has an update. Okay. Okay, so you have plans next year? Okay, there's your answer.
So, well, that means 15 years of trying and getting nowhere, basically, right?
But I think the last, someone recently, Tony's know better than me, but somebody told me it takes at least 3 to 4 years to get something passed, and so we've introduced it 3 times, I guess, and so it's the process, I think, of educating people on what it does.
Yeah, it's like a lot of other things in preservation right now. It's very frustrating, right? That such a great program in Louisiana and Texas and other states, and here we are, the largest boom in 100 years, and not really taking full advantage of that opportunity. We also talked about TDRs yesterday, right? The case study in Miami for GBX. Is that something that you think?
Yes, thank you.
Is that something you think might grab some traction in this state, like in Ohio and other states?
Maybe. It depends upon the local economic circumstances, the demand within, areas that are historically designated, and whether those local governments have the systems to identify and provide that service to their constituents. The transfer of development rights can be a little complicated at times. But I'm excited that there are communities that have them and that they're utilizing them. So that'll help, incentivize the preservation of historical resources and reduce the development pressures upon them as people realize that they have a useful resource that can then be transferred to another parcel. So, it's another tool in the toolbox. I'm all in favor of making a very big, shiny toolbox with lots of cool tools inside of it, So, but, to illustrate the growth of the program, back in fiscal year 24, we only had 15 active projects. Then the next fiscal year in 25, we had 32 active projects. And then this year, we're on the road to hitting 48 active projects. So it continues to grow. People are aware of the program. And, myself and Elena Gould, who's going to be joining me at the Preservation on Main Street conference this year, which is going to be held in Cocoa. We'll be doing sessions on the tax credit stuff, which, if you haven't heard, Preservation on Main Street, that's another important historic preservation conference here in Florida. We do it every year. We're holding it in Cocoa this year, and our award ceremony will actually be at Kennedy Space Center in the big Rocket Hall. So it's super awesome. We've been working very hard with the Main Street to put together a good conference that serves the needs of our constituents here. And it's a good mix of preservation and economic development and outreach and all that fun stuff. So.
And what are the dates?
The dates are, if I remember correctly, July 21st to 24th, I think, or 22nd to 24th. It's that week. So highly recommend you check it out. And if you can't do that one for whatever reason, there's also the National Alliance Preservation Commission Forum. Unfortunately, it's the same exact week in Minneapolis, but that's another great preservation conference.
That's the July 21st through 24th, so
yes.
The awards will be, I think, that Thursday night.
Yes.
You're interested in
Well, this is new, right, because you split from the Florida Trust, so maybe next year you could check with the National to see when they're doing this, so don't line up at the same time.
Yes.
We usually do. I just don't know what happened this year. I know I didn't have it on my calendar, and it happens every 2 years, correct?
National, the forum happens every 2 years. I know this year it's a little difficult because we were dodging the July 4th big 250 celebration, and Cocoa had several other events that are going on along with Cocoa Beach. So we do not want to override those events either. So it's a lot of moving parts. We try to do our best, but it's certainly going to be on our list of double checking in 2028 when the next forum will be. We'll be work hard not to overlap. So. Otherwise, the Bureau is going well. I'm mostly full staff, but, we have the usual comings and goings. We've got a staff person who unfortunately will be leaving our National Register section because their fiance was promoted in the Florida Park Service, which is great for them, and moving out to Mariana. So Sam Schmidt will be leaving us. And then we are also, one of our site file staff just got a position with the Florida Geological Survey, which is really awesome over at DEP. So Marissa Miller will be moving on to her next stage in her career. But we were really happy to have her. And so I'll be working with my section supervisors to fill positions. The great thing is Grants is fully staffed up. So yay! That's always been an important section that we've tried to keep fully staffed. So.
But no state architect again.
Unfortunately not. I mean, I will let Angie,
just resigned last week.
To that. So.
Terrible.
We have it for a year.
But.
It was a little over a year.
Yeah. But myself and Dr. Kira Lucas will be covering those responsibilities until we can fill that position again. And the great thing about having Jack for the time period that he was here is that he taught us a lot. And I made sure that he did a lot of training with myself, with the grant staff. We learned a lot about architectural contracting and reading plans and understanding procurement for architectural services, all that stuff. So that, I feel, has really improved the services that we can provide and the ability for us to really assist grantees in the management of their grants. So it was still a good thing. So, all right. I am open to answering any questions you may have.
Any commissioners online have a question? Thank you, Ruben.
All right.
Thank you. And now, John, what's the latest on our busy improvement schedule?
Morning, everybody. Good to see you. I don't think I was here for the last meeting, so happy to be back.
2 or 3.
Yeah. So, hey, now, Ruben mentioned, thank you for mentioning some of the Preservation Month activities. Personal plug, next Friday, May 15th, I'll be doing my own Preservation Month tours at the Grove. So if you'd like to learn everything you wanted to know and more about the Grove and the work that we did over there, that'll be 10:30 and 2:30 on May 15th. So, Dr. Spence, the Artifact facility, I wanted to let you all know we're very far along on that. The roof on the second floor portion of the building is going on this week. They're starting to do the stucco system on the exterior. So that's coming along really well. That'll be completed in the fall. I think our substantial completion date is towards the end of September. And we're working to monitor the budget. We've asked for an additional appropriation to fund the completion of a conservation facility that would be built adjacent to that building. So we previously received a portion of that funding during the prior fiscal year, and we've completed a lot of the design work, and now we're waiting to see if we could get the balance of the construction budget funded. So we're monitoring that very closely. So the artifact facility will be online by the early part of 2027, which is the deadline for that funding through the American Recovery Plan Act funding. That goes all the way back to that fiscal year when we received it, 22. The projects we're doing at the historic properties, we have a lot of that going on right now. Broke on McDougal House has really come a long way. They're actively plastering the walls. We hired some of the people who do the plaster work in the old way. We've done a ton of work on the interior to shore up the staircase and correct a lot of things you don't find until you get into the walls, a lot of inactive termite damage, things like that. We're able to correct a lot of electrical deficiencies in the house as well, as we were able to remove some inactive, very antiquated, I'll call it original wiring, and rewire the house. So that's a pretty far-reaching project. We're in the process right now of doing the second floor. They'll move to the first floor as far as the plaster is concerned and get everything painted up. And we built some pretty fancy shutters that are operable on the exterior, modeled after what we built at the Grove, so that we can easily secure the house during wind events, which is a major concern, of course, for protecting the windows and overall the building envelope. We're working to finalize the Messer House, you may remember, out in San Luis. That's a pretty interesting masonry building, large, huge basement, big, thick block walls, limestone, rubble, veneer, and of course there during the archaeological projects. And we invested a lot of money in that as well, doing restoration work and doing a lot of modifications to the interior for ADA compliance and everything that you can think of so we can bring it online in the future to kind of maximize what we do at San Luis from a public and also a rental facility perspective. Now, you all know we have over 20 buildings, and some of them are very small, wood frame houses that we operate as offices. So we've done a ton of work on houses like the Little Burr House at the Grove. That's about it's about the size of this room, but we had a lot of work to do on that house. It's a lot of wood rot repair, a lot of flooring issues and things like that. The couple houses over at the Martin House, the big Martin House, the big brick house, there's a small wooden house we call the Carriage House and one we call the Merritt Drive House, 1950s house attached to the Marshall. A lot of work going on there. And finally, we're moving into addressing the Knott House now. I've done a couple projects at the Knott House, but we're in need of fire sprinkler system, and air conditioning system replacement. They were designed in the mid-1980s, and the fire sprinkler system in particular is at its life expectancy. It's a dry pipe system. They tend to encounter issues when they don't drain properly, so we've investigated that, and we're pretty optimistic about that. The line for that project has remained in the every budget offer that's come out, including the most recent House offer that came out here earlier in the week. So that'll enable us to do some life safety system, and we also have some money to do a little bit of abatement on some of the original building features of the Knott House. Now, all that would not be possible without the, generous support we received from the legislature and through the governor's office. So all of that work is funded through legislative appropriations that go back to that ARPA years and continued for several years thereafter. Alyssa mentioned all the America 250 FL activities. If anybody got a chance to look at the exhibit we had up in the 22nd floor of the Capitol, that was fabulous. We have some exhibits that are still in place on the plaza level, across from the George Washington statue, Alyssa mentioned the one we installed in Chipley. There is a duplicate of that statue in the Capitol building as well, on the plaza level on the side where the governor's office is. And so we're actively helping to realize and contribute to the governor's program there. And Alyssa mentioned the trailers, which we did outfit with a lot of the contents from the 22nd floor exhibit, and then we kind of mashed those together with some other more kind of kitschy Florida concepts in the second of the two trailers that we worked out. I'd like to thank Parker for loaning us his beautiful map of West Florida as a part of the exhibit, and so that really was a great visual piece to go along with many of the artifacts that we displayed. Thank you, Parker.
Hey, happy to do it.
And you got it back safely today?
I'm
Not yet.
not. So John Tucker's at the end of this meeting gonna hand back the map. So hopefully it'll all work out.
And I understand too.
Unless John's keeping it in his office. I don't know.
Yeah. And we're of course working. I believe working with West Florida on some of the exhibits for that. Pensacola will show during the commemorative year.
Yeah, and I just wanted to remark how much I wanted to appreciate your help, Bureau of Archaeology, because we were a heavy document and paper sort of exhibit, and to help with the 3D objects, to tell the story of Pensacola and the story of Northwest Florida and Florida during the Revolution, Bureau of Archaeology, without any hesitation, leapt at the opportunity to help UWF's Historic Trust and the university to be able to have some of those in the exhibit. So that happened very quickly, and it's going to help enhance the exhibit. So on behalf of the trust, I'll say thank you to you guys, because that really did help.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's really worked out. I think we're seeing a lot more public engagement across the state. I think people in Pensacola are very familiar with why Florida mattered during the Revolutionary War. And as we work on these projects, we're able to more broadly make the public aware of different ways that that Florida belongs in the telling of the story and things that most people don't know just because of the way that we're taught about those things, right? And so that's been really interesting to see. A couple final things. May 20th is coming up. That's around the corner. That's Emancipation Day. In this part of Florida, and since the 90s, we've partnered with the Riley House and the city of Tallahassee on a commemorative event at the Knott House. So that's always on May 20th. If you want a free barbecue lunch, please come to the Knott House on May 20th. And finally, we just got through last week with Florida History Day. Well, actually, that was this week. This week.
Monday.
I don't have to remind everyone here. That's a huge effort on part of the entire agency to put on the statewide Florida History Day contest. This year's theme was related to the Revolution, Reaction, Reform, and History. So there were some projects related to the 250 semi-quincentennial. But History Day is a big deal, and we had several hundred students participate from counties all over the state. I get to monitor the exhibit hall, which is, really interesting to watch all of this, not just the students, but the parents and how invested they are in their children succeeding through doing historical research. And, the secretary, Alyssa, we're at the awards ceremony. Florida is very well represented when they go to the next level, when they're judged at the national. And so hopefully we can continue to increase a program like that. But it's a good thing for Tallahassee, too, because we bring in a couple thousand people that stay in hotels and eat at restaurants.
Website, the strongest area.
Uh-oh. John, I don't know if he knows he's muted. I think he's muted. You're muted, John. I don't know if you can hear. You can hear me. Yeah, I have a pot. Okay. All right. Well, that's okay then. But that's. I wanted to just remark on that. That's one of our probably largest kind of per capita touch points for the public that occurs in a very short amount of time. It starts on Sunday and it goes until Tuesday, and it's a big push. And we get a lot of help from all throughout the department to put that on. So that's and that's under Museum of Florida History, administers the History Day program. They're the affiliate here in Florida for the National History Day. And Jeremy seemed like he was holding up Kathleen's name.
Yes, Kathleen's hand is raised. Right.
Yes, Kathleen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to thank John Grandich again for the unbelievable tour he gave our graduate students. We brought them all to Tallahassee and he gave them a tour of the Grove. And if any of you have not done the tour of the Grove with John, you've got to do it. He is unbelievably detail oriented and can dig down as far as you want to go as talking about the restoration of the structure and the challenges and issues they had with that, and the development of the museum exhibits itself and the stories about the family. He's just really gives a phenomenal tour. Please go take it if you happen to be in Tallahassee. When are you doing those tours again?
May 15th, Kathleen, at 10:30 and also at 2:30. Well, that's very nice. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And putting it back on the department, there's a lot of people that worked on the Grove, but all of these projects like the Call Collins give us the same opportunity to do the same thing when we have the Brokaw McDougal, for example, relaunched. We're going to do some public programming through that house as well. And so it'll be the same type of thing to help raise the profile of the sites that we have, what we do, why preservation, matters, and all of those key points. But thank you, Kathleen. It's very kind.
John,
Yes, Rick.
thank you for your hard work. You really do tremendous work.
Thank you, Rick.
You have a lot of buildings. I know what it is to have a lot of buildings concurrently at the same time. At the Grove, at Mission St. Louis, and here at the Capitol with all the work. And I know this is probably not in your boundaries. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but it's something of big concern to me, which is the exterior renovation of this building. Building is a mid-century modern structure. Whether it's 1 year short or 2 years short, that's really irrelevant. It is what it is. It has a very important historic setting. We have our state capitol, we have our Supreme Court, and then we have this building. And what they're doing to the outside of this building is a disgrace. And it's a disgrace because it is irrelevant to the historic mid-century modern style of the building. They've added this copper. I just saw it today for the first time. Yesterday I came in from the south, so I didn't see it, but today I did see it this morning. It's a complete change of the facade. The canopy is a fake copper, and copper's going up on the columns, to a certain point. It's a mishmash. It's like your typical Miami architecture that has no relevancy or work. And I bring this up because this is also the way that most people are going to come in to see you guys, to see a museum of history. And our job is to teach people to do their projects in the right manner. Yet our headquarters has not been done in the right manner. So you know what I'm saying? It's like, how does you said the cabinet owns the building, or
It's the State Board of Trustees.
the state board, the same people that own the Coconut Grove Playhouse, which was destroyed for their lack of doing anything, And so, how does it happen when we have John and all the work that he does and all the checking that he does? How does this project? I wish for maybe the next board meeting we can have someone who was in charge of the project come in and give us answers. Why did they do what they did to this building?
I would be happy to put you in touch with somebody. This is not a project on this building that we're involved in because this building is not 50 years old.
I have to
So
understand that,
like we discussed yesterday. So John hasn't been involved other than logistics, in order to get people in and out of the museum areas, but.
So nobody in this building, nobody in this office had a chance to look at the plans before they started doing what they.
I mean, we saw them, but there isn't a review opportunity because this doesn't fall under Chapter 267. This building's not 50 years old yet.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if any of you saw it this morning when you drove by, but I encourage you to take a look at it. And maybe you can tell us who can we talk to, who can we send a letter to, because it's not the right thing. It's sending up a terrible message. How can you get your next Jack whenever he shows up to work here? Is going to be having arguments with people on historic buildings. Don't do this, don't do that. And a really smart architect or person is going to say, well, you did this to your building. I think it's gonna be an item of concern in the years to come. And I don't know
Alyssa, is this managed by the DMS people primarily?
Yes, yes, we actually are their tenant, so they control the building.
That's what I thought. Okay. Rick, that's your answer, I think. The DMS people are not coordinating with the department on this question. And they often rarely do, frankly.
I mean, I will say has been coordination with the department, but not as far as historic review goes. It's just not in the law that we would look at this building under that. That's 267, right?
And this building was not, at the local level, right, in the town, city of Tallahassee, and no protection.
There's very limited protections for the local.
In the town.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we had something very similar happen in West Palm Beach, and it's been a disaster. Because when you're stuck with a historic structure that is changed forever, and okay, granted, 49 years, 50 years, I worked on a 35-year-old building in Miami Beach that was historically designated because the city of Miami Beach felt that it was important enough to designate it Morris Lapid's only public building, community center on 6th Street. And I thought that took a lot of guts, that the city of Miami Beach did that, and they saved the building from, you know, the pressures of development, which are out of control, by the way. South Florida, they're just totally out of control. And the former historic Harriet Himmel Theater in West Palm Beach, which is now in Italy, okay, where they took out all the steps in the front and they butchered it like a fish on the interiors and gutted the whole building and turned it into this overrated food hall. Forever gone. And it was the third most important historic building in our city. Imagine doing that in Pensacola, where you live. So your third most important historic building. We have to live with that eyesore. You now have to live with this eyesore. You get grants over here. You review projects over here. Okay? Not me, but another architect's going to come in, and many others are going to come with their plans, and they're going to see that crap on the outside of the building, and they're going to go, what, is this really headquarters here? I mean, is it really headquarters? It's terrible. I hope we can get an address and a name of someone that we can write to, and maybe the Florida Trust can also do something, you know, just because it's a terrible lesson to learn. What's happened in West Palm Beach a year ago, and we see it every day now, is a terrible situation. I hate, and it's being repeated here today with the construction of this thing out there. Too bad it didn't work the last time they did it. Because they wouldn't have touched the front, right? They wouldn't have gone crazy. You know, someone had extra money, and they said, "Oh, let's do the facade too."
I don't think there was any extra. We were, you know, it was quite an expense to do it again. So I think there were, as I said yesterday, the bottom sections of the columns had to be removed.
Yeah.
So I know that was one consideration because the pitch of, since the building was built, the pitch either down to the street or to the drains had never been appropriate, and they couldn't build the pitch up to the building because you've got windows that are, you know, 6 inches from the bottom. So it's not like you could just raise it up like
That's
this.
why they put that low wall in front of the column.
Yeah.
To prevent the water from flowing into the, or onto the building.
Direction.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to understand it. I think when it all is complete, we'll understand what the vision is, and it will work, and the museum will not have leaks. I think is the main thing. You know, but that may have been a cost consideration in rebuilding these, you know, cement columns back again.
I don't know. I think an architect involved in the project did not have any sensitivities to mid-century modern. We just had.
Well, they just wrap those columns, right, Rick? You can unwrap them.
Yeah, you could.
It's only a section of the column.
No, look at it. I just thought that
I saw it this morning
it goes
too.
up quite a bit.
You know,
well,
but
I will say interior, we watched it all come off, and inside there are really hefty metal beams, inside. So if someone ever wanted to take that off one day and put the cement
nothing is forever. Nothing.
It could be done.
There's a canopy too that they did in top.
And actually, what happened there was it had like a little vestibule, I guess would be the term. And that was leaking terribly, and it was coming into the building. And especially, that was actually one of the, John may know more than me, but that was one of the main leak points, was like in that interior by the front door and that whole area. So.
Can you share the name of the people in charge with us, with the board, so we can write letters to them?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, appreciate it.
What is the top two in Palm Beach? The Terry Himmel's number 3, what is the top two?
The courthouse that we restored.
Okay.
And, just finished by the same developer, same owner, the, Price Sciences building, where he did an immaculate restoration, so. You have a tenant like Ely, they throw their weight around, and they get away with murder. And that building was not, unfortunately, that building was never landmarked. And people, it's very true what they say, preservation starts at the local level. If you don't have a local designation, it's a goodbye, because that's what they did in West Palm. It's very embarrassing, I think, for our city to have that situation. And now we have that situation here.
Yeah, I have another question on another building,
Sure.
not this one.
Yes.
San Luis,
Yes.
what's going to be in the Messer building? Is that where some archaeological activities are going to, offices are going to go? Other than the rental for the weddings and receptions,
Right.
I get that, but are they going to put any staff in the Messer building?
Yes.
Good.
The plan, the second floor, so it has the big bedrooms.
Yeah.
There's 4, and there's actually, that house has 6 bathrooms.
Well.
So there's 2 full bathrooms on the second
Yeah.
floor. Actually, no, there's 4. There's 4 bathrooms on the second floor.
Yeah, because the lab, the archaeology, where the artifacts were,
Yes.
and,
education.
and Jerry was working.
Jerry's building.
Right,
Yes.
they had to vacate that.
That's right.
And what did they do with the artifacts? Nothing yet?
They put them into the.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
existing
Right.
collections building, and that actually tipped it even higher to
Right.
capacity, and that's the Mission San Luis collection.
Yeah, right, you
Right,
bet.
so
It's the collection from Mission San Luis.
correct.
It's incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, I just was curious about, I knew you were going to do rentals,
Right.
and that's very
It's a big-
important.
It's a big room.
Yeah,
The-
right.
The 2 large rooms and the kitchen will be renovated. To be more usable, but the second floor will be for all.
Good,
Yeah.
good, thanks.
Yeah. All right, good. Any other questions?
No, I'll say, I know we keep promising to get you out to some of these.
Oh, no, we're never going out.
Delays, but
No, we're never going out.
We will have something really great to show you. We're really moving, actually, now.
Yeah, and like at the Brokaw, we're working on too, when you go through these houses, you reveal a lot about the homes, and we want to make sure that's preserved. So like at the Grove, we left some plexiglass over a portion of the staircase, and so we're doing some things like that to frame out the wall there, the plaster process, and that took a lot of time working with the craftsmen who they've hired to do this old style technique.
Right.
So we want to be able to show the people that come there, this is how this actually, has been accomplished, in keeping the material and.
Yes, they do that at the Presidio San Francisco.
Yes.
That was built strangely, but as they renovated, they kept windows into the wall so that you could see the different layers and the different construction techniques. That was helpful to understand building.
Yeah, and I think that helps too, because people don't see, there's a lot of money that gets put into these buildings, but you don't always see.
Oh, no, what you see is, just the surface.
Wall.
Right.
Yeah. And, so we're very aware of that.
Good.
I'm looking forward to giving some tours.
Yeah, when I redid our family farmhouse, I found some graffiti from when we were children.
Yeah.
And we did not preserve it, but we didn't paint over it. We just covered it with something.
Yeah.
With siding, but it was.
Well, I won't spoil part of it.
Silly things and drawings, and I don't remember doing it, of course. I blamed it all on my brothers.
That's a good way to spoil the Grove tour. If it comes on May 15th, you'll see the Grove graffiti.
Good.
All right.
Yeah, people do write on walls. And there's a Confederate, right, in the Grove?
No, it well, now you're making me give away the tour.
Oh, sorry, never mind.
It was a member of it was Governor Collins' son, Admiral Collins. He wrote on the wall.
They do
He
that.
was mad about doing homework.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you very much. And Angie, Dr. Tomlinson, we've got your report on grants.
Yes, I will actually speak to you because I have quite a few documents in front of me that I might have to refer to based on questions. So it's actually not much of an update because the budget hasn't changed since we talked at our last meeting. The House and Senate, in advance of this session that starts next week, did release budgets this week, but they are the same as what was previously done, and then they'll proceed to negotiate on them during the session that's upcoming. So just from a grants perspective, just to refresh everyone, both House and Senate did include they did not take away the recurring $1.5 million for small matching, which will fund the entire ranked list of 32 projects for next fiscal year, which came out to like $1.3 million. So small matching is good unless they change something. The Senate included funding for the ranked list of the African American Cemetery Grant Program, which was $446,000. The House did not include that funding, so we hope that during budget negotiations they'll include that. They'll decide to leave that in, and I'll take it out. And then for special category, as we all are aware, there was no funding allotted by either house for the lists ranked by the Florida Historical Commission. There were member projects, however, included in both of the houses. So if you were to look at the budget proposals, it looks like there's funding in that special category fixed capital outlay grant line, but that's for line item member projects. And they're different in each, so we don't know, they'll negotiate which ones stay in and which ones don't.
What range of money in those?
In the House, there were 8 member projects included for $1.9 million, and in the Senate, there are 7 member projects included for $4.4 million.
So they just cherry-picked again?
They're not really cherry-picked. They're not things that you all looked at.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So they're different projects, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we are. We're waiting the special session for budget starts next week on the 12th and goes to the 29th. I know that the Florida Trust, Melissa's here, they've been still sending out, calls to advocate and hopefully maybe get something put in for the list. I don't know, I don't have enough political savvy to know if that could even happen, but, I guess there's still hope because we still have a special session coming on the special category list. Rick?
A couple of points. Get ready for a tsunami of member projects, okay? 27, 28, I met with people in Mariana yesterday. They said to me, we're going straight to our legislature.
Right.
We're done waiting. It's been, 2 years now with 0, right? That was 2007, 2008, when there was a depression in the state of Florida. There's a boom going on right now, like 100 years ago in the state of Florida. So something, we're not clicking with them. I don't know if it's because we only visit them when they're in session, or we're not visiting them at their home districts when they're all alone and focused, and we can really put some pressure. I'm going to give these letters to Elizabeth. It's the same letter. I sent these letters to everybody, every legislator and senator in my district, and then I asked my secretary to also send it to everybody on the finance committee. With an example, the courthouse where we got 3 grants for that one. And so you're going to have a lot of people it's going to be the Wild West. It's already happening, right? The last couple of years we've been noticing it. Whether it's 1.9 or 4 million, it's just going to, it's nothing compared to what our friends at Flagler College did a couple of years ago, right? That was the whopper. But that's coming, and I don't know. I mean, we have to find another way of getting the word out. Madam Chair, you had mentioned there were other historic groups that you were meeting with, and
they were unresponsive this time.
Yeah,
unresponsive.
So I don't know what else we can do.
Except for the trust.
Right.
Yeah.
I think yesterday somebody also mentioned we've got 2 statewide conferences coming up, right? We have the Florida Trust next week and Palms in July. And I said that I would, whenever I mention a building and a presentation that I know that got a grant, I'm going to actually mention that. Because I think we need to have get the word out. You know, these two little projects that we looked up in Mariana yesterday, they're on hold, you know, but thank you, because we did get some, Hurricane Michael money and other grant money, and without that, they would have been, one of them would have been completely demolished. St. Luke would have been gone if it weren't for that money. And thank you, because that money is the difference between that building being gone and being here, ready for an event center, hopefully someday when we get some money, or we get a, you know, special donor, I don't know, maybe a restaurant donor, I don't know, you know, who wants to manage.
I gotta sell some more fish sandwiches.
I got a deal for you, Marianne. So just want to share those letters, and hopefully you can email them to you.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody, you know, it doesn't take that long to write something and have.
Rick, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, because I think we need to. I don't know what else we can do. You know,
I don't know. I think we ought to think of a new strategy.
Yeah, we need.
Our old strategy isn't working, and it looks like the bad old days of turkeys, where these member projects weren't vetted by anybody. They didn't have any controls. They were, I don't know. They could have done so much better with all that money, and they didn't. And that really was the emphasis for special category. I think we need to do a little historical research on the generation, the reason special category grants were developed, and maybe not reinvent the wheel, but maybe modernize that. I think we need to do some looking. And we can do that as a commission. We could form a committee that looks into the various strategies that worked in the past, and then look at the present and see how they can be, how we can help with having these projects that apparently are going to occur anyway, how we can make them historically, architecturally sound. And so I think it is our responsibility to at least look into it for the secretary and to the director. And it's been on my mind. I don't think the old way is going to work. I don't think we should try to reactivate the old way. I think we need to think of a new way. There's plenty of money in the state of Florida. I know that. There's plenty of money that they can, you know, we're not asking for it. We might try a smaller recurring amount, and we might try to lobby for that. I don't know. But the grantees are not wanting to wait, and I don't blame them. If I had a grant application, a special category in the hopper, and it was something that needed to be done, I'd be going to my member and saying, if you can't fund the special category list, fund mine. It's in your backyard, you know, and but there's something that we need to help with.
And for what it's worth, on the economic impact, right? The Florida Trust and the University of Florida did a study years ago where every dollar of public investment created $8 of private investment. National Park Service did a study very similar. $1 of public grants, $7 in private investment. It's a huge impact. And when you take that money, it's like gap financing, you know. You heard that term before, like just need that little bit of state money to get it finished. And it's a tragedy what's happening to some of the people that we work with. The Everglades Bank, I mean, those poor ladies, the 85-year-old ladies on that, putting their own money, their own personal money, $400,000 of their money, to just try to get it to stabilization, because the federal, I'm not just talking state, federal grants, state grants, you know, it's all disappearing. And private people want to know that there is public money before they give out money. You know, they're trying to raise money in Naples and then rich areas of southwest Florida. But when the question comes up, well, where's the public support? Where's the no county support, no city support, no state support, no federal support? It's really rough what's happening.
Yeah, we need to sort of get our hands around it. We might find that there's not a good path right now, and one strategy is to wait until the political scene changes. And you know, you could die waiting for that. I don't know, but we need to sort of use our ability to do research. We need some horrible cases often that brings the attention of look at what happens without professional and professional staff overview, you know, and sometimes it's that, you know, building fall down, you know, something.
Good point. Judy, you have a lot of institutional memory, and what were the circumstances in 2001 when Florida Historical Commission, I mean, the statute was implemented, this commission was formed. How bad was it? I mean, clearly there had to have been an impetus to get the consensus of a bunch of disparate groups from around the state to say, hey, we need to shove this into something a little more regimented and a little bit more predictable. Yeah. What was the environment?
I don't know. All I know is that it was formed, and I was asked to be on it. And they created this special group, this special grant. Let's see your name.
Well, prior to the Florida Historical Commission, there was HPAC, the Historic Preservation Advisory Council, and I don't know the details of why it changed names or got new people on it. We can do some research on that. But this program goes back, special category program goes back to 1983. I think HPAC goes back pretty much that far. So there's always been sort of an advisory body, and the reason special category was created was because there were so many member projects that my understanding is the legislature wanted a program, something to like organize all of this. So I know I had it on my notes from, I think maybe last meeting or meeting before, to go back and pull the minutes from like the HPAC. We have those in the archives. They still exist, and all those. Right. Actually, I think all the grant meetings minutes for all those years ago still exist. So I will make a promise this time that we'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting about what that history of that was, and how we sort of got to this point.
Yes, it helps, because it sounds like the wheel is being reinvented. With member projects on the rise, special categories not being funded. I always thought one of the things that should have been pushed for back in the 80s was recurring funding. Everybody wants recurring funding, but it wasn't. And it's always been a problem. Are they going to fund it? Are they not? And they get into a rhythm of funding, and we've lost that rhythm.
Another point is that, to my knowledge, the governor's budget has never included the special category grant. It's always in the small matching grant.
Right.
The small matching grant category is usually in the budget, governor's budget, if they want to fund it. The special category has not ever been for some reason.
Mm-hmm. And then we could talk to our members of the commission and you who are savvy with the legislature, and find out what's the matter. We might know it, but ask their advice on how to provide the legislature with the right vetting, so that when they give these large amounts of money to projects, that they're good projects, they're sound. You know, that's I think our leverage that we have here. And we could make an issue about that. And I don't mean in a negative way, I mean in a hand-wringing way. You know, these are projects that nobody's looking at.
Or we could get Rick to run for office.
What we do need is you know, I remember Jeff Atwater, he was the CFO, he loves history. He lives in a historical home, which we've renovated not once, but twice. And he has property up in Jacksonville and in Lake Placid, and we need someone that loves history to be our governor.
A champion, right.
That's a champion. You know, Laura Bush used to be a champion, right, when she was the first lady, right? So we need that kind of input in our government, because you know, there's so much that, I don't know about up here, but my city has 15 cranes and more coming, okay? And there are so many buildings that are just disappearing, you know? It's fast. And you know what they say, right? Once it's gone, it's done.
Right. Well, I think we ought to reach out to our friends, too, in trust.
Yes.
And make a small think tank of us. I think we ought to do that. I think now is not the time to do anything. We don't know what to do. We don't know the best path. We don't know the lay of the land. We don't know what these projects are. We could look at them and we could find one that's a mess, you know, that's been a member project. And so I think what the commission can do is put it on our radar. When we meet next, let's, Alyssa, you and I, and talk about, some suggestions for the commission and then thrash it out.
I'll also add for you that something that's happened in the last couple of years is that we have less oversight over these member projects as far as the review process. We run them through a compliance review process like we would do for other federal or state agencies, but there's not the ability to hold them as closely to the Secretary of the Interior standards as there are some of our grants
Right.
through the normal process.
That's what happened at Flagler College. If I didn't get a call from local historic preservation people in Augustine, I would have known, nobody knew, right? They got not one, but two $35 million grants, right? They got $70 million. And they have a lovely interiors package, but it's nothing like the work that John does. It's all new stuff. Is that really where historic preservation dollars should be going in? And
I will
then
say
they try to get your approval, right? They try to say that you guys endorsed it.
And they did actually, Rick. We reviewed that. There are areas that were flooded that couldn't be repaired.
There were many areas that were covered that didn't need to be covered. A lot of the concrete stonework.
We'll agree to disagree on that.
With the committee, I think hopefully you.
I don't know. I am uncomfortable with we all are, with the situation with special category grants right now, and that means that we need to do something about it, or get off the commission, because the commission is targeted with doing just what's not happening, which is vetting big historic preservation, public-funded projects in the state of Florida. And
They've done a great job on everything that comes through the system. We have saved some phenomenal.
We have.
We have taken it to the next level.
Right.
I spend a lot of time reviewing these applications every August, September. There's over 60, 70 applications. That takes a lot of time. I'm a whole week in my office, buried in my office, ignoring my projects, reviewing that. Then I come up here for 2 days with my fellow commissioners, and we vote, and we feel good, and we go home, and we share the list, and zero. In 2025 and 2026, when everybody and their mother's moving into the state, it's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm very upset, to the point where I don't want to sign up for another mission. This is my last one. I'm done. It's not fair. It's just not right. And if they don't get it over there, and you're right here, you're 2 blocks away from them, and they don't see what you're doing, and the Secretary of State doesn't see what's happening here, it's really sad.
okay, why don't we quit beating this horse? And it's right now. So let's take a 15-minute break. Let's come back at 10:50 at 11:05, and we will continue. Thank you.
Did you finish your update?
That's right.
Next Monday, the 18th. Gus and George will be out, and there's an executive
Let's see, testing.
Back to order. And now we go to our business items. We only have one, which is the request to rename Lighthouse Point Park. So,
I had one minor thing on my update.
well, sure, Ann, you
Sorry,
want.
to go back to grants. I'm
Yep,
sorry
yep,
to
yep.
step in.
No, it's all right.
I just wanted to say, I know that everyone's probably aware that's in the grant world that we did postpone our grant cycle this year. Yeah, there's a couple of things that we talked about when doing it, but like one of the main items is that we're just so much uncertainty with the budget that we want to see what happens with the budget and see if people need to reapply, that we're on the list, give them a chance to do that. So we are opening the cycle. It's not done this year. We just postponed it, and then when we have the dates, we'll obviously share that with everyone, with the trust, and it will affect, if you're going to ask Rick maybe about the meeting, it probably will require rescheduling the meeting depending on, because we have to have time to review all of the applications.
Are you thinking of just freezing it this year and use last year's, or are you gonna open it up again and make the best application?
Grant still.
Best application, not just the old ones from last year.
Yeah, because there's so much change
Okay,
from year to
well,
year.
that's what it should be.
So to at least allow people who applied before, if they still wanted to apply, to have the time to do that, and not get caught, on their back foot on applying because of the situation.
Do we make it easy for people to resubmit an application, or do we make it hard for them?
I mean, it's a copy paste, they still gotta
Yeah.
copy paste it in there, but it's the same question.
Yeah, it would be the same questions. The only thing they would really have to do, like Alyssa said, is if they were reapplying, is basically just copy paste it over, but they probably might have some changes because those last applications were submitted over a year ago, so they might change their budget or scope slightly, or things might have happened,
And
so.
that deadline was June first, right, of every year, so what?
Yeah, June
So
1st.
you're gonna push it out, do you think?
We would still, as far as I know, we have to see what the timeline ends up being, but usually they get 60 days to do it. It's usually April 1st to June 1st, so I assume, at this point, that would still be the plan. Whenever we opened it, they would have 60 days. We wouldn't
Oh,
push
whenever
it,
that new date.
we wouldn't
Yeah,
push
okay.
it into
Thank God.
June 1st, right?
Yeah.
Which is
but-
why it might change the meeting date.
But if something happened and we did have to shorten it to say 30 days,
Yeah, we
we
could.
want everyone to know that application is the same application. There's
Oh,
not,
okay, you haven't
not that
upgraded.
There might be
Are
some
there-
tweaks, because we're doing the rule, we do the annual rule update. We're at the point of notice of proposed rule on that. We just have, working with General Counsel's office on getting that done, the rule development.
part of that rulemaking process happened a couple of months ago. I don't think there's any major changes to the application. There might be tweaking a couple of questions or clarification points, but special category didn't have any major changes at all, other than just general sort of program requirement tweaks and clarifications.
So no substantive changes,
No.
and really the questions will be in the same order that they were before. It's not like there's going to be a lot.
Yeah, no.
But
Angie,
you opened
what
the
are you?
grant.
Hello,
Go ahead.
this is John.
Go ahead, John.
Don't you think that someone should speak with the Speaker or the President of the Senate and get a feel for this situation? I hate to go through all that again if there are no plans to put money in these special grants. We need to know. They're doing, instead of them, they're going to member projects. It's gone away from the special category, and the members are going straight to the Speaker or to the President of the Senate and getting their home projects done. And we need to see if that's going to stay. I sure do hate to spend all the time, and for the people, not just us, only to find out that they have no plans to put money in there. My thoughts.
Alyssa, I had a question. You said that the governors had never included special category grants in their budget proposals. How far back does that go?
As long as I've been here, which I've worked in the grants program, 2003 was when I started, and it's never been in the governor's budget. It's always
That's a
been
good
in
idea.
the legislature. Yeah, and actually, we'll know in 3 weeks or so, what they end up doing, and whether or not they fund any of these. So I think that'll give us a good temperature check on where we're at.
Okay.
Will the fact that the legislature is meeting in March have any impact on the review dates?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Early session.
Oh, the early session for, I think it's going to depend on when the cycle opens, because there's a lot of back-end things that need to happen before we can actually get them to you. There's an eligibility check that occurs, and we have an architect. We'll have them take a look at it before we get them out to you. So hopefully no later than like October or November at the very latest, and we would still have a list by January.
Yeah.
So we would then meet like November.
That's the latest I think we've ever
Could
met.
be up there. When we've done that with hurricanes, yeah, we have done it as late as early November, but ideally it would be before, in October if we move it. Because right now we're at the end of September. And I mean, it's possible those dates could remain the same, but we just don't know at this point when the applications are going to be received, and we have to build in time to review them. So, but we would obviously be in communication with you all about all of that.
And I think we'll talk about this at the end when we talk about dates, but I know, Rick, you said you weren't even available the September date, and so we'll need to see what the temperature is on everyone, if you all have that date available or not. If that's not a good date for everyone, then maybe it already gets bumped forward to another tentative date.
That was all. That was the only additional.
But you opened the grant application period.
No,
April 1. Oh, I see. You didn't.
No, it was delayed.
That's the point. That's what was delayed.
Yes,
the opening. That's okay. Got it.
I've gotten a couple of calls, people thinking, oh man, did you guys cancel the grants this year?
No, we said we postponed it and to check back for additional information, but,
Clear that it's postponed.
Yeah, it's not canceled.
Oh, but it's very nice.
Yeah.
And so I expect us to have and once the budget is done, I expect us to have another update on what we'll do.
All right. Let's move on to our business. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good clarification because I wasn't clear on it. So let us go to the request now to rename Lighthouse Point Park. How are you going to present that? Is someone here to present it?
Actually, I'll be speaking to it. Ben Bartlett, Volusia County Public Works.
Okay, Mr. Bartlett, that's fine.
Yeah, and I believe we're going to be pulling up we have a short little presentation, PowerPoint presentation. There it is right there. So first of all, thank you to the commission for hearing our request to rename Lighthouse Point Park in Volusia County in Ponce Inlet to the James Milton Hunt Lighthouse Point Park. If you could go to the next slide, please. Just a real quick kind of background on this park. It's one of two inlet parks on Ponce Inlet. This being the one on the north side of the inlet, originally opened in 1986, consisting of 56 acres. It's owned by the state of Florida, but it's operated and managed by Volusia County through a lease agreement. Some of the amenities include an 800-foot jetty deck, a dog-friendly swimming area, observation tower, picnic pavilions, and elevated wooden boardwalks. And our Marine Science Center is actually on site as well, where we have a turtle hospital, and it's open to the public for folks to come in and look at what we got going on there. And it's really, this park is really one of our most popular parks that we operate along the Volusia County coastline. Next slide, please. So, you know, a little bit about the history of how we got this park is prior to 1983, the land was acquired and the owner was looking to develop it into a large condo development. A local group really, you know, local groundswell and community really worked hard to get this land purchased for conservation and for a park, which the county did, utilizing its the Ponce de Leon Port Authority, which is managed by Volusia County. It's a special taxing district. And then that land was then transferred to the state of Florida. And then in 1986, we were able to open the park. And James Milton Hunt was really took the lead in that community effort to get the county and local, including the city and local folks behind it to acquire this property and preserve it for the future. Next slide, please. And Mr. Hunt was born and raised in Volusia County, just a few miles north of the inlet where the park resides, up in the area called Wilbur by the Sea. He's a lifelong resident and dedicated servant to Volusia County. And his vision, he understood the unique, you know, cultural significance and ecological impact of preserving this particular area along the inlet and turning it into a park for folks to visit, and, you know, moving forward. Next slide. So Mr. Hunt, you know, as I said, played a pivotal role in the community effort to preserve the land that the park now resides on, and his advocacy ensured that this area would remain a shared public access asset and not be turned into a private development. And we're requesting that we rename the park in Mr. Hunt's honor. We think it'll serve as a meaningful and long-lasting recognition to his contributions to getting this park preserved and protection of the Volusia County coastline. And it would also preserve the historical record of the individuals whose advocacy ensured this land would be shared for future generations. And next slide. So we have included in the packet letters of support from the Volusia County Council, as well as the town of Ponce Inlet, where the park resides. And on the call are Vice Chair Matt Reinhardt from the Volusia County Council and Mayor Lois Paritsky, if they would like to make a statement. I also believe Mr. Hunt's daughter is in attendance with you all there in Tallahassee, if she would like to speak as well. And that's all I got for our presentation.
Thank you, Ben. This is Councilman Reinhardt, if I could. You guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
So Jennifer Longmire, who's in your audience right now, we heard her announce herself prior or when the meeting started. Thank you for making that trip up there, Jennifer. But she approached me several months ago about this idea and already had the support of the town council of Ponce Inlet and Mayor Paritsky, as well as Ben was saying, is on the call. So she gave me a little bit of history, and to go a little bit even further into that, Mr. Hunt had moved to Wilbur by the Sea, which is a small unincorporated area of Volusia County, back when he was 4 years old, and has always been involved in this area. And as a matter of fact, as he grew older, he took his children down that way, and she can share some good stories with you at some point, but their involvement as well. He has since unfortunately passed away, but knowing how much he was involved in this and how much effort he did in preserving this from becoming an area that was developed with extremely high density housing and kept the historical value of this area in the Lighthouse Point Park, which is very near and dear to its citizens here, as well as visitors that come. He actually moved away, and when he heard that these efforts were underway, he actually quit his job and moved his family back up to start this process. And from my understanding from Mrs. Longmire, uh, the original idea was to at least get 6,000 signatures, which we put in the presentation. But according to her, they actually obtained 16,000 signatures in an effort to stop this, and was successful in doing so. Knowing that he played such a pivotal role, now we do have a marker there with a plaque with his name already in existence here that the county did supply back when this became a park. And it was a great idea to restore and maintain the historical value of this on who created it. Uh, and I thank you so much for hearing this and listening to us and giving us the opportunity to present this to you. Like I said, and Ben has said, we take a lot of pride in maintaining this park to its original state, and we'll keep it that way. We have some projects underway to improve the walkway, the jetty walkway, actually. We're waiting on some approval on that later down the road, but this would definitely be just a great opportunity for our citizens there. And I'll defer now to our great mayor down in Ponce Inlet, Ms.
Oh,
Britt.
thank you so much. And I see I don't have the feedback now, so that's wonderful. I'm very honored to be here speaking, and I am speaking in support of renaming the Lighthouse Point Park in honor of James Milton Hunt. Mr. Hunt, as you've heard, played an instrumental role in preserving the land that ultimately became the park, and it was his vision and dedication that really ensured that this remarkable natural space would remain protected and accessible and enjoyed, not just by us, but for, generations of our residents and the visitors who come to the park alike. So this request comes forward with the unanimous support of our town council, and it reflects our shared belief that we do owe Mr. Hunt a true debt of gratitude, and renaming the park in his honor, it's not only appropriate, but it's certainly well deserved. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We appreciate it.
Beautiful place.
It is. It is.
Madam Chair, I'd like the honor of moving this forward. Approving this request.
Well, Mr. Phelps, you can. So you're making a motion to rename Lighthouse Point Park to John Milton. So hang on a minute, John. Well, fine. Come on up, please. John, just hold your fire for a minute.
Okay.
No.
Good progress.
And John,
Yeah.
reminded we'll need public comment too before we take the vote.
Good. Thank you for that reminder.
Well, everything that I was about to say was just said. So I'm just going to read what I have to say. My dad, James Milton Hunt, loved Ponce Inlet and the Point. He rode his bike down South Atlantic Avenue from Wilbur by the Sea to his favorite piece of land when he was young to fish and to play in the mangrove. And as an adult and as a father, he would take my sister and I to the Point where we would watch dolphins swim by, play in the water, look for sand fleas in the sand, and walk on the rocks. He showed us what a wonderful place it was. Then later in life, he took total pleasure in taking his grandchildren, which 2 of his 5 grandchildren are here today from Boston, to support the mission of this. And we would all go as 3 generations to the park and enjoy it. So back in 1981, he was working in Miami when he learned of the purchase of land by Transall at the end of the inlet in Ponce Inlet. He quickly drove to Ponce Inlet and found out that it was true. They had bought all the land and were planning on putting 500 condos and shopping malls on the property. He decided at that moment that the land should be saved as a park for all people and generations to enjoy. He moved to Ponce Inlet, and the journey to start the Don't Pound to Our Lighthouse campaign began. And this is the shirt that he sold to raise money. And this shows, here. This is the lighthouse, and there were some shopping malls right up against the lighthouse. And these are all condos, all out in here. And so that was, that's what he was going against. For several years, he went to countless planning meetings in Ponce Inlet and Volusia County. Night after night, he would take us with him to demonstrate the importance of the future of his family and the community to enjoy the point for years to come. He went to Washington to meet with Senator Childs about the land. He also traveled to Tallahassee and worked with Governor Graham and his Save Our Coast program to acquire endangered, valuable coastal land set for development. He worked tirelessly to save the land and put his heart and soul into preserving Ponce Inlet as a town and not a city. Finally, at a meeting by the Cabinet of Florida on May 18, 1983, after much debate, it all came down to Governor Graham calling a motion, and then Cabinet Member Smith moved that it be approved, and so it was. The closing of the title occurred on June 24, 1983, and the park opened November 14, 1986. Once he saved the land and it became a park, he went several times a week to watch the people and enjoy it. He was so proud of the park. It was one of his most important life achievements. Unfortunately, over a year ago, he passed away somewhat unexpectedly. And so this is a very personal and important family project to carry on his legacy. As you know, the Ponce Inlet City Council and Volusia County Council wholeheartedly support the renaming to honor the impact he made on the local community. This being the 40th anniversary of the park and what he did for his neighbors and the public of Ponce Inlet in Volusia County, I hope you'll vote to memorialize the park. Thank you.
I'll second.
Not yet. Is there anyone else who would like to speak about the renaming?
Any public comment?
Public comment?
Anybody at all, if you're online, you can go ahead and unmute and join.
I think it's so slow.
Okay. Thanks for being here.
Kathleen Kaufman has her hand raised.
Kathleen?
Hi, I just would like to thank the council members and the mayor for being on this call. Ben, you gave a great presentation, and renaming something that is so well known like that park is not to be taken lightly, and you have made a wonderful, beautiful case, and it astounds me that kind of development even proposed for that area. It's just unbelievable. And I'm very moved by the presentation by the family member, and I'm just in full, I just wanted to say I'm in full support of renaming it after James Milton Hunt. Thanks, and also thank you for sitting through all of our business meeting. Well, that was a lot for you all to hear, but I appreciate you hanging in there and letting us see this very important. I actually loved the slide of your presentation, and it was re-mentioned by, I think, Councilman Reinhardt, where you said, part of the reason we want to do this is just to preserve the history and the memory of the person that really made this happen. Because so many of us in historic preservation, we all know those people in our own community that a major preservation win or save is always a group effort, right? But we always know that there's that one person. There's one person that usually is so passionate about it and just is relentless in going to the meetings and going to the commission and being the advocate. So I love that part of why you want to do this is to just really preserve his memory for this place.
Thank you. That's true. That's true. There's usually one person behind it that just will not shut up. And that, many people in this room have been that person on something. Yeah. Well, good. Now, any other commissioners, do you have any other comments? Any comments from the audience, the public, general public, online or in person?
Yes, I just wanted to say, if I may, my name is Tara.
Please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Great. My name is Tara Hunt Weir, and I am Jennifer's sister, James's daughter. And I just want to say how grateful I am that you're hearing this and for the work that you do for the state, because if it weren't for groups like you, I'm afraid more condos and mini malls would be going up all over the place where they don't belong. So, and I just want to thank my sister and my nieces for being there to represent our family.
Okay. Anyone else? Jeremy, we good online?
Okay, hands raised.
Okay. Now, Commissioner Browning, you can make your motion.
Well, I think it was my motion, Madam Chair. Phelps, I don't know, John may
John Phelps.
agree.
Sorry.
I don't want to preempt John if he wants to
My
make it.
bad.
It's okay.
John Phelps.
Yes. I would reinstate the motion if that's required, Madam Chair, but I also want to say this is a perfect example of how the local level, as Rick said so much earlier, the involvement at the local level is really what makes this happen. And this is a perfect example of how it was done right. And thank you.
Is there a second to his motion?
I'll second it.
All right, Rick. Is there any more discussion? In that case, all in favor of renaming Lighthouse Point Park to the, let me get it right exactly, James Milton Hunt Lighthouse Point Park, please say aye.
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 All opposed? All opposed? It's unanimous. Congratulations. Okay. Good.
Thank you.
So we now have it.
Thank you so
You're very
much.
welcome, and thank all of you.
Yes, and
Thank
I'm sure
Thank
we'll have
you.
some kind of ribbon cutting for the naming, so we'll make sure to send out invites to each of y'all
Yes,
for this.
please let us know.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for your
Thank
time,
you.
too.
Yeah, so please work with Cara or whoever you sent the PowerPoint to. We'll make sure that Commission gets that information.
Right. All right, now to our last order of business is other business. Is there anything else the commissioners or the staff want to bring before the commission?
Just meeting dates, I think, is the only.
Let's talk about dates.
I'm gonna ask for Ruben's help on that one because he knows the NR dates. I think they're in the minutes too.
Yeah, well, the next National Register Review Board meeting is currently scheduled for August.
Right. August 6th?
Yes, correct. So that would make the FHC meeting on the 7th.
Uh-huh.
If that date needs to be changed, please let us know as soon as possible.
I'm not available that week.
Okay.
Okay, we'll have to make sure if we have quorum because we've got some deadlines, I think, for National Register that we had done, but it depends on if you all want to change. We don't have to have the meetings concurrently. We can, it's up to you all.
That's true, we don't.
If you want to keep it or not.
We don't.
Yeah. And then after that, after the August meeting, the next regularly scheduled meeting would be in November.
Right.
I believe November 5th would be the National Register, and then November 6th would be the FHC meeting.
Is there anyone that here or online that has conflicts other than Rick with that, the 7th, August 7th?
I'm good.
And if you decide to change it, I can do the week before or the week after.
Yeah, I was asking you, I was thinking, Rick, maybe the week before or after.
if they both work?
It would, based upon how things are for notices and stuff, the week after would be much better.
All
Because
right.
the week before would put us already 1 week behind our notification deadline.
Okay.
Okay, so you haven't notified anything yet for those?
I'd have to check with my staff.
Because we
for-
may or may not be able to change the NR date, it's the FHC date. that
Yeah.
Can
Mm-hmm.
move around.
But the deadline for notifying our certified local governments for National Register properties, we do 90 days. There is some built-in flexibility in there. But I would need to check specifically with my staff if there's a project that we have sent out already notice on. I don't think so. I have not seen that yet, but I cannot speak with 100% certainty.
All right, well, maybe we should tentatively schedule the Historical Commission for the 14th.
Yes.
And hopefully we can Ruben can reschedule the National Register Review Board meeting for the 13th.
I will not be here because that is the ARC meeting, is August 14th.
Well, that won't work.
I can't move that one.
Mm-hmm.
We could do the 12th and 13th. We could do like a Wednesday, Thursday instead of a Thursday, Friday.
Well, that's the thought. We've done that before.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, yeah.
I know I'm open. I don't know about the other staff.
That
or
works. I mean, we'll not end.
Okay, we'll look at that. If
Yeah.
anyone online have a conflict with those dates, August 12th and 13th. Obviously, it's just in on the 12th, afternoon of the 12th, and then
Right.
morning of the 13th.
John Phelps is muted.
Yeah, I have conflicts on both of those dates. I think the 12th and the 13th, but the 7th is a semi-conflict, but I think I could make that meeting.
Okay, well then we'll leave it up to you all, Madam Chair, on what you want to do. We'll still have quorum either day.
That's true. Well, let's do the date that the most people can make it.
Yes,
And-
like the 13th.
Sounds to me like the 12th and 13th.
Okay.
Right. Depending on what Mr. Acosta has to say.
Yeah, we'll pull, my main concern is just for the National Register
Oh, yeah.
Board.
Oh, yeah.
Since we only have 4 members on the review board.
Right.
Losing 1 member puts us at 3, which is the bare minimum for quorum.
Uh-huh.
And then if something else happens, then we can't have the meeting. So I
Right.
would prefer to be above, having that 1 member.
Oh, you bet. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the November date, anybody have proposed so far?
Judy, if you're going to make it the 12th or the 13th, the 13th works, the 12th works better for me.
Well, it would be, Mr. Phelps, it would be the 12th would be the National Register, and the 13th would be the
Okay.
FHC.
13th I can't make.
Okay. You can call in. We can even get you a phone number to call in if that all works.
I might be able to make it late, but not at the beginning point at least. Thank you.
And then the special category is currently on your calendars for September 29th and 30th, but it sounds like we'll have to reschedule that because Rick has a conflict and he's our architect. And we're not sure when that we'll accept applications at this point either. So we'll get back in contact on the special category date.
Right, I'll take them off my calendar then,
Yeah, that wasn't
period.
gonna happen, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I think it's just too short already, so
Good.
we'll look at dates in October and maybe, or we'll probably wait the 3 weeks till after the budget and then figure out where we are.
What date was that going to be? Did you
The
pick it up?
29th and 30th of September?
Oh, September.
That's good because I have a trip the day before that, so I'm not gonna complain.
Good. All right. Is there any other business we need to take care of?
Just one minor item, Madam
Sure,
Chair. I've been reappointed to the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you, and I've had my first meeting in February. Very interesting meeting. Talked a lot about the ballroom and,
I bet they did.
who would have thought that a developer would be elected and that There was no local preservation ordinance to protect the White House, right?
Nope.
There you go again, it's all at the local level.
There's a
You
big
don't have
loop.
local level, anybody can do anything they want. I've tried 3 times, speaking to the staff about tweaking the project. Hopeful that we might be able to do something. It just needs a couple of things to be changed. They're not that difficult. I participated, well, I listened in to the National Planning Commission hearing. And there are 3 or 4 things that I think if they were done, the National Trust might compromise, so I'm hoping they'll listen, but it's difficult. It's a challenging client, so to say the least.
Yeah.
But if you have any inquiries or if you have any Florida needs, I'm the only Floridian on that board, so please just email, text me. The next meeting is June 3rd and 4th, and then in August, August? Yes. No, September, sorry. Is the other one, right? So June 3rd and 4th, so just send it my way and I'll bring it up, We tried to stop the Secretary of the Army from trying to fast-track Section 106 review. The vote, I was on the nay side. It was a 10-4, with several abstentions, unfortunately. So my first vote, and I'm going to tell them, I tried. We tried. A lot of people, National Trust tried, and a couple of other people tried.
Yeah, that's a big fat loophole in
Yeah,
there.
that's
Of the
the
law.
problem.
None of us were aware of it, but it's there, and it's legal.
And there was a really good idea, which was, okay, break it up into 3 levels of preservation, The run-of-the-mill barracks, right, or whatever, right? The mid-quality that are public, and the super great historic buildings, right? So maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. Yes, Ruth?
I was just going to say that they should look at what NASA does for their properties. They have a good...
They have a programmatic agreement with us, actually.
With the state of Florida.
Yeah. And I can't remember if we've signed the national one. There's also a national one.
But what you just said is incorporated into that, isn't it?
Top tier, mid-tier, and low tier?
There's
yeah.
a classification system.
Yeah, in the national one, yeah. But honestly, we do work with the military all the time on Section 106.
Yeah, the Air Force.
And, there's nothing that says you have to preserve, so I would say the majority of those projects, we're helping them through the mitigation projects and the documentation of those historic resources. So I don't want anybody to get the idea that, we're putting a stop to military installation changes or necessary national security. We're definitely compromising and documenting.
Okay.
So please pass that along.
Thank you for the tip. That's very helpful. Any other tips? Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Frank Terraferma said that he needs to leave the meeting, and Kathleen has her hand raised.
Okay, Kathleen?
Thank you. Thanks, Madam Chair. I don't want to rehash the grant stuff, but I did just want to reiterate, I agree with Rick's earlier frustrations, and I know the other commissioners are frustrated as well. I just feel like we keep asking to try and come up with some sort of way to get to the legislators better, and it doesn't seem to go anywhere. And I just had a request. That letter that we put together and that I believe John Phelps helped us wordsmith it up at the dais for like 30 minutes, one meeting. If that letter actually ever went out to the legislators, I'd really like a copy. I don't have a copy of that last version that we all voted on, and I'd like to see it. If that could get sent to us, that would be great. I'd really like,
I think so.
If possible.
I think
Did we get?
I think Judy sent it to the legislature and to those individuals, and I know initially I didn't get copied, but then you sent it to me later on, and so I will check my email and see if I've got that.
And yesterday,
and I also asked, go ahead.
At yesterday's National Register meeting, we discussed this super briefly, and I was telling the fellow commissioners on that board that, well, I don't think I can articulate it. It's been a long morning, so I'll just wait to see what happens with the special session that's coming up next week, or next week. But I know other organizations like Florida Trust are doing a great job, but I also feel like we just need to have a legitimate way to get our concerns and frustrations passed up to the legislature. That makes us feel like we're even being heard or useful. So I'm super frustrated with the grant situation this year, the special category grant, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
Thank you, Kathleen. I think you speak for all of us. Yep, the same way. Any other business?
Madam Chair, we'll get this and Rick's letter out to you all as well. And I just wanted to say, if anybody from the public wants to see those, they are publicly available, and Cara's contact information is on the agenda. So if anybody else is interested in those, they can have them.
Good. So now, we're done with other business. Let's go to public comment. Is there anybody who wishes in the public to speak? Have something to say?
You all want to do a time limit on.
No.
They're so busy and if you're online, wish to make public comment, please raise your hand. Recognize you. No hands raised at the moment. Hi, if you're online and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand. No hands raised.
All right. And no one in the room, so thank you very much. And that ends our meeting of the Florida Historical Commission, and now we shall adjourn. Right. Thank you.